All right, we're here with Andrew MacRae. He's a weed scientist with the University of Florida, and he's going to tell us about the most important things strawberry growers who use plasticulture systems, the most important things they can do to manage weeds.
Probably the number one thing we have to do in order to do a great job for weed management is do a really good job in our fallacies. When we don't have that crop on the ground, there's a lot more options we have. We can definitely use herbicides whenever we like. We can also use tillage. We can put in a cover crop which will compete and reduce the amount of weeds we have. So number one is probably doing a good job when we don't have our actual crop in the ground. Now once we've actually started laying our plastic with our strawberries, obviously we're going to be thinking about our fumigants. We need to do a really good job with our fumigation. If you do have nutsedge, you need to make sure that you've got a product that's going to do well in nutsedge. Example is telone plus chlorpicrin by itself is not great for nutsedge control. You'll need to add a KPAM or a VAPAM in with that in order to do a good job on your nutsedge, while Midas 50/50 and Paladin Pick, which will be registered next year, we hope, will do a good job on nutsedge. So then you've already taken care of pretty much everything you can take care of on the nutsedge side. Now we talk about annual weeds, we got to look at herbicides underneath that plastic mulch. All of our methyl bromide alternatives are nowhere near as good as methyl bromide was for controlling weeds. We're seeing a lot of black medic, we're seeing some Carolina geranium start to come through coming out the planting holes themselves. So we're looking at a lot of problems that are going to arise as we switch away from methyl bromide. So we definitely need to start adding herbicides underneath our plastic mulch. So we're going to be looking at increasing the number that we currently have. We do have the ability to use Goal, and we have the ability to use Devernol. With Goal, you're going to have to do it 30 days before you transplant, which isn't a giant problem in Florida. But for Devernol, it's actually a pretty good product as well. So we're looking to use these herbicides under plastic mulch. Hopefully you're going to try to gain 80% control of the weeds and spend the rest of the season making sure we can try to do the best to knock down the population, so that 80% is all we need. Obviously when we're using fumigants, if we get 90% control of our weeds and then we follow it up with 80% control of the last 10% with the herbicide, we actually end up with 90% control of our weeds, which is right where we were with our methyl bromide anyways. So as we go into our actual production season, now we're looking at what do we do with any weeds that are present in the field. Well, if you have nutsedge, you absolutely have to go in and spot spray with Roundup. Try to take it out so it doesn't get any worse for the next season. In your row mills, make sure you do a good job in the row mills. We use herbicides. We do hit now in Florida. We have Chateau Prowl combinations we can use in our row mills. Make sure you follow the labels on when you can apply them. They do have pretty long PHIs. But we have a pretty good pretty good set now of herbicides that we can actually use on our row mills. Obviously we have AIM with a 0-day PHI, we can use it all season. And we also have glyphosate that we can use up to 14 days from our first harvest. So keep your row mills clean. It's good for not only reducing disease, it actually does a really good job as far as reducing the amount of weeds for next year. If you let stuff go to seed in your row mills, that's just more weed seed that you're going to have to deal with the next season.
Okay.
Probably the number one biggest thing as far as all pests is at the end of the growing season, kill that crop off. Don't let it hang around for a couple weeks or a few weeks. You're just letting diseases and nematodes build up and you're letting weeds go to seed. So at least kill it off with herbicides, get that crop killed off, get the weeds killed off. Ideally in Florida we're trying to push some of these guys to start using some fumigants. Our nematodes are up in the bed, our diseases are in the bed. Let's go ahead and shoot a little bit of fumigant in the drip tape, kill all the weeds, kill the crop, kill some nematodes and kill some disease, and essentially do a great job of knocking our populations down before we ever get to the fallow period.
Okay.